Hello and welcome to another Let's Play. Me, GamerWolfSix of Winds of Change. Before we start, if you're interested in playing this game, it's on Steam. So, on the last Let's Play, things were looking a bit grim because there were lots of suits, and our guys were getting weaker and more tired. Though we did fight Halen, and I liberated him from his, mind control curse. And we're making our way up a whole bunch of stairs. Anyways, Dimmick fights for his life in the town square, surrounded by suits of armor. He lost sight of all of his allies, and is unable to tell if they're even still alive. Still, he fights on. He'd never give up. Not when he's this close to the end. That bell would surely ring any minute, and bring an end to the war. If the monarch followed through, then this war would belong to them. This is the fact that kept him fighting, even as his hope was lost. Fatigue started to set in, making him move slower. As the suits of armor fell, so did his strength and resolve. He was surrounded, fighting in every direction.
Come on, 14, we can't hold the town square forever!
And just then, an arrow pierces through his shoulder. He stumbles back and falls to his knees before pushing it out. His pain was minuscule compared to what he felt back in Mazeo. Rising up, he starts to fight with anger, as well as determination. In his rage, he takes down the suits of armor even faster than before. Another arrow pierces his upper body, but nothing that would stop him now. Keeping the arrow in, he grabs another sword that lay on the ground. Fighting with two of them, he's able to guard himself more effectively. The suits of armor were arriving faster than he could kill them, however. Soon enough, he was surrounded by more suits than he would hope to kill. With no allies around him to come to his aid, he knew that things were dire. If Fontaine didn't ring that bell, this would very well be his final stand. He throws a second sword to the ground and takes a deep breath. He was prepared to face death. This somehow made him stronger. The pain of the arrow only served to push him to even more extremes.
I guess it's time.
His fighting starts to become more desperate, and tears blur his vision. The fact that he couldn't see any of his friends just hurt him even more. He had to assume that everyone around him had fallen during battle.
Stay back! I'm warning you!
He held out his sword as if to threaten. His hand trembles. The honor guard did not heed his warning, and they close in on him. Having no choice but to continue fighting, he lets out labored grunts. Through his blurred vision, he's almost unable to make out anything. His saving grace in the contrast of the white suits over Boltace's decay. Using that as a guide, he's able to keep taking down his enemies. He tries to find his way in the direction of the archers. Those were more of a threat to him than the suits with swords. In fact, he was certain that those archers had killed quite a few men, and unfortunately, he may be the next one added to their count. An arrow was shot through his gut, and he screams, falling back. Not a grievous wound, but he immediately caught off guard. Something smashes in the back of his head, and he collapses, turning around to see a suit holding a rock covered in his blood. An open wound to the back of his head starts staining the ground.
What?
He writhes on the ground in pain and confusion. The suit kneels down and grabs the sword from the ground. It was the same one Damick had discarded moments earlier. He's surprised to see that the rest of the honor guard stands down. As if they acknowledge that this one had deserved to deal with the final blow, Damick cries, looking up in horror as the suit raises the sword. But before they can follow through on their thrust, something happens. An arrow pierces through the suit of armor, and it crumbles to the ground. Damick looks around in confusion. Had an ally finally come to his aid?
Damick, give me your hand!
Hey, it's you. Shane. Damick cries out softly, not sure what's going on. Last time he saw Shane, he tried to kill him, and basically succeeded. But here he was now, offering a hand? What was happening?
Damick, quick! You don't have much time!
Damick shakes his head, but then realizes he has no other option. Grabbing Grabbing Shane's hand, he accepts the help and rises to his feet. He stumbles forward, almost falling back down, but he doesn't. He presses his back to Shane, still a bit delirious, but his friend supports him as he draws his set of daggers. Confusion assails Damek, as everything has happened so fast.
There. We're even now.
Damek nods.
So what do you say, Domek? Fight? Just like old times?
Damek nods again and raises his sword. A moment later, they both charge towards the suits of armor. Like a team, and like friends, they fight together once more.
Just keep it up, Domek. I'll patch you up as soon as we're safe.
Shane, talk to me. Why are you doing this?
But Shane doesn't answer, at least not before the bell was rung. Wait, really? A loud ringing fills the air, delivering the sound of hope to Damek's ears. Fontaine had achieved his goal. That means his allies are still saved. Damek goes to keep fighting, but Shane holds him back.
Domek, no! Look! It's over.
The honor guard turns to stare at the source of the ringing. Then, they throw their swords to the ground without hesitation. Starting to march away, they all abandon their previous efforts.
We did it. I can't believe this.
Without a word, Shane just stands there along with Damek. Together, as the ash rains down on them, they watch as their foes flee. Damek smiles, and a few tears run down his face. Was it all really over? No, that wasn't the right way of looking at it. Things had just begun. The monarch had to finish it all. Damek looked in the direction of the castle, as hope rises within him.
Monarch, good luck. We're all counting on you.
Town Square is soon devoid of all foes. But now, without obstructed vision, Damek can see all of his allies. They raise the swords in the air and start cheering. Boteus was theirs. And soon the lives of the triumphant would be theirs as well. They cheer the monarch's name, and then that's all Damek can hear. But that's all he needed to hear, for the name of the monarch meant hope. Oh. Yee. Interesting looking place. The ringing of the bell echoes in my ears. It's almost deafening. I'm relieved to know that Fontaine survived, and succeeded. Me and Sophie stand in the darkness, and it's hard to see.
Here, you'll be needing this.
He hands me a torch that was hung against the wall.
And watch your step as we go up those stairs. If you fall off the edge, well, you know how high we are.
I nod, and the thought filled me with fright. I hold out the torch and see the bizarre sight before me. The walls are lined with gears, just like those on the blade. They spin and rotate in directions that they shouldn't. It makes no sense to me, but then again, neither does the blade. The gear on the blade spun in a way that was physically impossible. Fog lines the stairs leading up to the triumphant's chambers. I was confident a moment ago, but this sight fills me with unease. I've never seen anything like it, and it's very concerning to me. I couldn't see off the edges of the stairs, and there was no railing. A slightest stumble would send me back down into the atrium. I do need to go back there, but that's not a way to do it.
I have one piece of advice for you, Monarch. Don't let them talk to you. Just kill them with no question. All they'll do is try to justify their actions and earn your sympathy. They prey on the minds of the weak, of those that they can mold. I know you're strong, but they just have this way of convincing you. I'd hate to see that happen to you. So remember, kill them all.
I tell him that I don't care what they say to me. I'm here to kill them. They could speak to me all they wished. They'd accomplish nothing. An easy goal to have in mind, but in practice I guess I had no idea. I had to find out, however. Someone steps out of the room ahead of us. As they move towards us, I can see the white gold of their cloak. One of them had left their chambers? I thought they didn't do that.
Sylvie, you've returned. Were we not clear enough? A permanent exile is non-negotiable.
You quit being banished?
But you said...
He turns to them and motions as if pleading.
You said I could come back if I brought the blade. Is this not what you wanted? Was it not a test?
The triumvir looks down at both of us and sighs.
You think that you can fool us so easily? We know where your allegiance lies, Sylvie. There is nothing in this world we cannot see.
Sovi gritted his teeth. I could tell that he was angry. I'm confused, but I trust him. I knew he was on my side. At least, that's what I thought. Everything changes in an instant.
Everything I did for you. Were you really too foolish to realize that? My attempt to help the rebellion was only an act.
What?
I've brought the enemy and the blade to your doorstep. Even after this, you deny me my redemption.
I kind of felt like that could happen, especially if he didn't have his loyalty thing down, but we do. I immediately try to run, but Sovi grabs my left arm. As much as I struggle, it's no use. He's too strong. I'm filled with fright. How could he do this?
You've done nothing but bring an armed enemy into our home. Your judgment is clouded, Sophie. We decline your offer.
No!
A second later, Sovi phases the blade into his hands. Then, much to my regret, he slices through my arm with ease. I scream, and then from the elbow down, almost nothing remains.
Then take this as an offering. That arm will never again be used against you. Before all of us, the monarch is defenseless.
I don't feel anything, almost as if my body numbs itself to the trauma. But the sight is all too real, my lower arm, limp and dead on the floor. Blood spurts from the wound, and I look at Sovi in disbelief. He makes direct eye contact with me, and then looks at the torch. I'm still gripping it tightly, and that's when things make sense. He was trying to fool them. I still have use of my good arm. I slump against the wall, and use the torch to burn my wound shut. A disgusting smell fills the air, and I can hear crackling and sizzling. This is all I can do, or I'll watch Sovi ascend the stairs with the blade.
You continue to surprise us, Sophie. Very well. Let us talk.
The triumvirate looks down at my scabbard. They definitely believe Sovi removed my dominant arm. I don't know why any of this is happening, but I let it all unfold. I trust him.
Thank you, Master. I am sorry for letting you down in the past. I can only hope that this offering is enough to please you.
He continues to walk up the stairs, slowly, as if somewhat scared. If I were him, I wouldn't want to make any sudden movements either. The triumvirate has the advantage here. All we could do was try our best.
Remove threats to ensure the continued reign of Alestia's leaders. Is that not what you wanted? Is that not the role of the Grand Inquisitor?
As he speaks, he reaches the top of the stairs and faces his master. The triumvirate lets out a loud sigh and proceeds to nod a few times. By now, I'm almost coherent again, and the wound bleeds no more, burnt shut.
You are right. Kneel, Sophie, and pledge your loyalty. Then, turn that blade on the monarch and take her soul. That's all we need. The blade and the power inside her.
Sylvie immediately drops the blade to his side and kneels down. It hits the ground with a loud metallic clang, then rests there motionless.
Yes, whatever you say, I will continue to serve. As the Grand Inquisitor, I have only one goal: removing threats to the throne of Alestia.
He trembles, frightened, as the Triumvir nods.
And I shall start with you.
A moment later, the blade disappears from the ground, but it doesn't return to Sylvie's hands, or even mine. It phases directly through the chests of the Triumvir.
Sylvie!
He raises to his feet and grips the handle of the blade. I can see tears streaming from his eyes, sad at what he's done. He's shaking, as if he almost refuses to believe that this is real.
I hate that you're making me do this. I hate the man that you've made me become.
Sylvie.
And a moment later, he pulls out the blade. Then, with a harsh kick, the Triumvir flies off the edge. I can hear them scream as they fall, and then the screams fade. Sylvie drops the blade, and then drops back down to his knees. I start walking up the stairs, shocked at what I just saw. One of them was dead? Now only 2 more remain?
Monarch, take the blade and go. End this foolish war. Please.
Okay, but I only have 1 arm left and there's still 2 more of them, you know? I summon the blade back to my hand and walk up the stairs. I stop as I arrive beside him, and he simply shakes his head. I considered placing my hand on his shoulder, but it's no use.
Just go.
With a sigh of regret, I realize there's nothing I can do. I wouldn't even have time to chastise him. I decide to enter their chambers. His cries fill my ears, and dissipate with each step I take towards the end. Either the end of the triumvirate, or the end of myself. When I enter their chambers, it looks like I remember it. I've been here before. I've had visions of standing in this very spot. In those visions, I remember walking towards the idol in the back. I can feel the blade respond to this room, but I'm not sure why. I'm not moving or anything, just feeling deep in my gut. As I go to grab the blade, I hear a loud voice call out to me.
Stop!
Then out of nowhere, I see 2 cloaks appear by the idol. One of them stays in place, while the other walks towards me. The one in the back was surely my target, and their leader.
Do not draw that blade unless you intend to use it. That idol will respond to your aggression and fight back. We will not harm you. We brought you here for another reason.
Another reason? What could it be? I know I was told not to let them speak, but I'm curious. Assuming a neutral stance, ask them to explain themselves.
That is a tall order, Monarch.
I noticed they used my proper title. In this moment, there was no room left for doubt. Everything Hal told us about the Triumvirate was true. They don't speak, they just stand there in silence. If I had anything to ask them, I guess now would be the time to do it. However, earlier warnings echoed in my ears. Warnings against letting them speak. Ooh, maybe we should do a safety save. What would more be? Well, I gotta ask.
We are nobody, and yet we are everyone. We are the same, and yet we are different. There is really no way to answer that question. Like you, we are simply beings capable of wielding that blade. When the sun sets on this era and rises again, we will be forgotten, reduced to cosmic dust, we will become even less than a memory. It matters not how the cycle ends, only how the cycle began. The ones who created that blade could never comprehend what they started. An endless war of life against death, of purity against corruption. As long as that blade exists, there will be beings capable of wielding it. And as long as those beings exist, they will inevitably meet, just like us. A catalyst for the clashing of ideals. It exists only to create disorder.
Where'd the blade come from?
Long ago, a group of 3 faced an almost insurmountable foe. They were able to prevail, and they thought they had won peace. All of the worlds, once closed off, became united in one large universe. You see, that blade was created from the clashing of conflicting ideals. Life against death, purity against corruption. It feeds off of that imbalance. What they held after the battle was only a portend of more strife to come. We do look fondly on those who created the blade, but we also hate them. Were it not for them, neither of us would be standing here right now. But because of them, we stand here at odds instead of peace. Memories of their exploits linger through the core of that blade. But no matter how strong they were, one fact remained. They were nothing but foolish men. Men who thought themselves worthy of delivering justice. Men who, with all the power in the world, still remained short-sighted. They knew not what they trifled with, Monarch. They thought that the blade was a symbol of victory. But no. After what you've been through, we both know what it truly means. War and death.
Why are you doing this to Alestia?
Well, true evil can almost never be fully defeated. Though heroes of the past stood victorious over evil, it was temporary. In the future, sometimes even millions of years ahead, the evil returned. And now it stands before you, corrupting the very heart of Alestia. But this is not the first world it has harmed, and it plans to keep moving. We follow it, with that blade, and save innocent worlds from its wrath. Look at the dying Voltaeus. It would deliver that fate to every single world. Rather than temporarily cast the idol away, we decided to settle down on this planet. Our goal was to find a way to destroy both the idol and the blade, for good. Doing so would liberate the universe from this eternal war. But we did not hold the power required to destroy the idol. Not yet. If we could make the blade stronger, though, then we might stand a chance. If it could match the strength of the idol, then that could be it. The energy unleashed in such a moment would destroy both for sure. Since the blade fed on life, we would have to start relying on others.
So why'd you imprison the monarchy?
They had planned to use this idol as a source of power, perhaps to aid in their conquest of other worlds. The universe belonged to them, they thought. But wielding the power of evil incarnate would only lead to ruin. We couldn't let them continue down a path as dangerous as that. So we cast them aside, in an astral prison using that blade. And as we did, we created new life on Alestia. A new, pure species, that would keep on reproducing. A breeding ground of power for that blade to harvest. If we could make that blade strong enough, then we'd win. But even then, we couldn't gather power fast enough. The idol started corrupting and killing Maltese. We had to think of something, and fast. It led us down a path that we did not want to walk. But in order to create peace, it was necessary.
Why have I been having visions of this room?
We are not surprised, given our method of harvesting power. You see, this is not the first time you have stood in our chambers. Hopefully, it is the last. But to be honest, we've seen you many times. That blade exists unbound from the restraints of time and space. Every death along your journey has only served to power it further. When you got here, if it was not strong enough, we sent you back. When we did so, the blade remained unchanged. The cycle started anew, giving that weapon even more strength. You stand here, the result of millions of years' worth of trial and error. The occupation, the rebellion, and even your attacks on Maltese. We created a period of time in your history filled with nothing but death. Over and over, you and your friends have lived it, only to power that blade. When the final cycle came along, we would have you carry out your goal. The destruction of both the idol and the sword is what you were meant for. You may have come to kill us, but your virtues are simply misplaced.
What makes me special?
Nothing does. Well, at least, not at first. Originally, we hoped our champion would come from Alrinthia. That's why we kept our nation separate and focused on strength. If each ruler was stronger than the last, well, as time passed, we might find someone strong enough, someone with the will and power required to wield that blade. Of course, it became clear that this would never work. Just as we started to give up hope, those idols appeared. The monarchy was somehow able to reach out of their prison. The growing nation of Valinor developed their culture around this, and as a reward for reverence, the concept of a seer was created. A special citizen of Valinor, with the power of the monarchy inside of them. Even then, none of the seers were as strong as we needed. Until you. The monarchy gave you everything they had. We assumed that they did this so you would kill us. But it would seem that they played right into our hands. You were led down a path that only gave you more and more power. In all of the universe, you are the only one who can use that blade effectively. You house not just your own will, but the will of billions of spirits. Spirits that want nothing more than to see their homeworld freed. There was no other choice, really. You are our champion monarch.
Do I really have a say in all this stuff?
No. You are our creation, and must do as we say. But your actions will ensure peace and happiness for trillions. It is a small price to pay, and we know that you would agree.
Is it really worth all this trouble?
We wish to end a cycle that has plagued the universe for eternities. In fact, it could be even longer. It is impossible to know for sure. Because of that, we believe that no price is too high to pay. We will never be remembered. Nobody will ever know our sacrifice. But there shall never be another world marred by that corrupt idol, and no man will ever again be seduced by the power of that blade. The best course of action for the universe is to destroy them both. Their existence will always lead to those who believe they control fate. They will always lead to a clash of ideals, and it will always lead to this.
Enough talk. Let's finish this now. That was enough talk. I came here to kill them, even though we basically just went through an entire list of stuff. And that's what I had to do. No matter what they had to say, they couldn't talk themselves free. They hurt my world, my friends. I would make them suffer.
The mind can suffer when stuck in the same time and place. History repeating itself can be far more than maddening. We try to break free from the cycle, but only perish.
This member of the triumvirate is talking so differently. The one in the back, in the previous room, had almost completely different story. If being caught in a cycle would drive them mad, I had to wonder which one was mad.
This is why we will not stop you if you wish to kill us. That blade has kept us alive long enough to see things through. Our final rest would only be a sign that we have finally won. So go ahead, kill me, and kill my master. Turn that blade on the idol, and see what happens. See if you can free everybody from its wrath. Not just us, or Alestia, but all worlds, and all people. If you are not strong enough, then the cycle will just start anew. Before you know it, you may be facing us here once more. But know that we are not your enemy. All we've done to...
I'm sick of hearing it. I'm sick of this weak justification. I phased the blade into my hand and thrust it through their chest. But, like I was warned before, the idol responded to my aggression. The room is engulfed in a blinding darkness. It must be the idol. The blade usually causes a white light. I feel an immense warmth around me, and hear crackling flames. The darkness fades, and the entire room is engulfed in fire. The triumvirate stands before me, bleeding and crying. They were no gods, just weak, arrogant people.
Very well.
I turn left and face the flames, forcibly taking them with me. I hold them there with the blade, tempted to absorb their soul. But no, they don't deserve it. They don't deserve the satisfaction. I pull the blade out and watch as the wound oozes blood. Then I grab them by the cloak and pull them close to me. In their final moments, I curse them and condemn them. And then I push them back into the idol's flames. I hear them scream and writhe as they're slowly burned alive. In my opinion, they deserved a punishment far worse than that. Now, just one more to go. As I turn back to face the idol, the final triumvirate stands before me. I hold out the blade towards them, showing them my intent to kill. That was my goal. Kill the triumvirate. Destroy the idol.
Stop! Think about what you're doing! Everything we've done in the name of freedom!
They get down on their knees and look up at me.
Normally, I'd send you back to start the cycle anew. But now, your strength surpasses mine. This must be the end. I beg for your mercy. Let me live to see what I fought for.
That hesitation, I swing the blade and cut off their head. They fall to the ground and blood stains the white of their cloak. I'm not sure what to believe, as they all had something different to say. Perhaps they meant to use doubt as a weapon when I got here. I throw away that nonsense and stick to the goal I originally had. With them out of the way, it was time to destroy the idol for good. Take a step forward, and my body is assaulted by pain. I can tell that the idol's fighting back, and I fall to my knees. The flames are so hot, and I can feel I'm melting away too. But no, something else is happening, not just the flames. The idol was trying to kill me, but I'm not the only one here. Inside me is the monarchy, billions of spirits, wanting to help. It's almost as if they're shielding me, sacrificing themselves for me. I stand up and take another step forward. The pain is even worse. I fall to my hands and knees and cry in agony. It's too much. My vision blurs, but after a while, things return to normal. Through the pain has gone away, I start to feel weaker and weaker. I know that the souls inside me are giving their lives for this. If I could get to the idol and attack it, I might be able to win. That was a big maybe, but there was one thing I knew for sure. I might not live through this, and there was no other option. Every step I took could easily be my last. Determination rises within me, and take another step forward. My body is racked with pain, and it's almost impossible to walk. I use the blade as a makeshift cane, and a voice sounds in my head.
You can do this, Monarch. Don't give up.
I'm not sure what I just heard, since nobody's actually around me. In these chambers, it would seem that time and space acted normally. With another step, I grit my teeth. It feels like I'm being torn apart.
Keep on moving! We didn't come this far just to lose now!
As the souls exit my body, shielding me, get noticeably weaker. I tremble with every step, trying as hard as I can to keep myself standing. My comrades call out to me and urge me to keep moving. I start to cry.
I guess I'm no longer the strongest member of the rebellion. I'm proud of you, Monarch. You saw this through to the bitter end.
With another step, I fall to the ground, and I lay there, crying and squirming in pain. I grip on the blade tightens as I shake.
Is this really how you want your story to be told? Get up, Monarch! Get up and finish what you started!
I use the blade for support, and try to rise to my feet. This is taking so much out of me. Would I have enough power in the end? Hoping every fiber of my being that I do, I take another step forward.
I knew there was something special about you. Ever since the start. You brought us all together and unified us. You made us a family.
A smile, a stark contrast to the tears stream down my face. With another step, I'm almost facing the idol. I couldn't do this alone. The voices of my comrades and the souls inside me carry me forward.
So, everything has led to this. The monarchy is no more, but you can still live. Make it through this, and give Alestia the future it deserves.
Take one more step, and ready the blade. As soon as I thrust it into the idol, things would be over. But as the power within me dwindled, I realized one thing. No matter what happens next, the blade would be destroyed. But if I wanted to get rid of the idol for good, then I would perish as well. In order to live, to see another day, I'd have to hold back, just a bit. But if I did that, then there would be a chance the idol might not be fully defeated. It could come back in the future, to corrupt and decay other innocent worlds. Was keeping my life worth condemning other worlds to suffer like we did? I thrust the blade into the idol and activate it. The blinding white light follows. This was the end. The blade, in mere moments, would enact my final will. I just have to ask myself what that final will be. Definitely gonna make a quick save. Couldn't spare myself if it meant other worlds would be hurt. And be selfish. Even though I wanted to live, I knew I couldn't. As soon as we set sail, I knew that this could be the end for me. Even though I knew it was a possibility, I still didn't want to believe it. I was only fooling myself, thinking I could live to see what I fought for. I denied that Trumper was right, and I could deny it myself as well. I guess it didn't matter now. I could feel myself fading away. Command the blade to use all the power it can, including that of my life. No matter what happened to me, I could rest knowing one simple fact. Celestia had been given a future that it deserved. In the hands of the people, they were free to live as they pleased. As everything fades away, I wonder what the future may bring to my allies. I'm gonna get a tissue.
Valessa returned to Valenorth, accepting her mantle as elder. Leading Valenorth in a way that respected its tradition, the nation flourished. Borders became less strict, and Valenorth was popular with tourists in the future.
Oh, that's a...
Valessa returned to Valenorth, accepting her mantle as elder. Leading Valenorth in a way that respected its tradition, the nation flourished. Borders became less strict, and Valenorth was popular with tourists in the future. Because of her wishes and style of leadership, Valenorth retained its culture. Forests were left intact, the idol was left standing, and everything was just as it was. Going down in history as one of the most revered elders, all future rulers respected her wishes. Valessa started a new tradition to remember your love and keep it alive. Once a year, gifts and well-wishes would be left at Salberg's idol. This was to thank the idol that empowered you and saved all of Alestia. For as long as she lived, she attended every year. Known as a strong ruler, this was the only time she shed a tear. Your legacy and your sacrifice was honored by Valenorth forever. Because of your efforts and choices, Valessa survived. When the whole world stood against her, she faced it and prevailed. You gave her a gift of a happy, peaceful life, one not lost to senseless war. Fortem chose to settle in Mazeo after the war. Helping the nation's people adjust to the new world was his goal. However, this was to make up for the truth of learning that his parents were pirates.
Thank you to the people that made this game for having this fake red.
Undoing the damage they had done to the nation was his top priority. Soon after that, the wounds of Mazeo were healed. Everybody was safe and happy. Tales of the occupation and the triumvirate's wrath soon faded into history and legend. In his eyes, he had made up for any harm his parents had caused the nation. When he passed away, he was known as one of Mazeo's greatest public figures. Without his help and direction, many say the nation would have never recovered at all. During all of this, he never forgot your sacrifice. He considered it a necessity to keep your memory alive. Almost never keeping quiet, he told stories of you for his entire life. He focused on the little things, rather than your grand destiny. For example, how your life as children in Valenorth went on. He thought it important to pass on the idea of humble beginnings. It wasn't very long until word of Fortem's other endeavors came to light. Having been the first person to climb the Grand Tree, he was a legend. And just like he had wished, it soon became a tradition for climbers to scale the tree. This continued for almost an eternity after his passing. Climbers would leave notes for him at the top of the tree, close to the heavens. They thought that maybe somehow he could read them. They thanked him for all he had done. Fortem survived the war despite all odds. His strong love for everything around him kept him afloat. When all hope was lost, he stood up and challenged death in the face. And for that, he was never forgotten. Living a long and full life, he was happy. Alestia was forever better because of him. After the war, Pro settled down in Museo and started to write. He wanted to chronicle everything about the major players of the war. Working with any rebel survivors, he pledged that their story would never be lost. His works would go down in history as the most detailed records of wartime. People would aspire to write like him, but to this date, none have come close. Considered one of the greatest historians in Alestia, he retired and lived a peaceful life. He wrote about you and your sacrifice in vivid detail. In his mind, the most important asset in the war should be remembered. But true to his methods, he wrote about your day-to-day life as well. Legends should be grounded in reality. At least that's what he thought. It was important for people to realize you were a person first and a hero second. This empowered generations to come with the idea that anybody could be a hero. Pro's identity as the mole within the rebellion never came to light. However, even if it did, he had done enough to make up for his actions. Many aspired to write like him, but none could achieve such prowess. After the war, Ulrich did his best to assist the throne and serve the monarchy. There was much to take care of, and things were chaotic after the fog of war settled. But he was up to the task, and he did everything in his power to make the world a better place.
I wonder who the monarchy would be since, I'm dead.
In his spare time, he would visit New Alarinthia and assist Vivian as well. Having achieved his dream of a changed nation, it made sense to help out. It would take a while before every Alarinthian adjusted to this new lifestyle. With your sacrifice, there was nobody left to lead Alestia. Ulrich, stepping up, took on the role of the first king of the monarchy. His goal was clear: to educate the world on the new status quo. People slowly learned and adjusted to news of the triumvirate's fall, but with many years of hard work, they had come to enjoy Ulrich's rule. Alestians lived in peace, never fearing what their rulers may do to them. He never forgot the romance that blossomed along your journey. Even though you were lost, he still stayed loyal to you and your memories. Though people thought he refused to move on, he knew this wasn't true. With his curse lifted, he was no longer afraid of dying. He knew that if he did, he might see his love again in the afterlife. This thought is what kept him going when things as a ruler got rough. Thanks to your efforts, Ulrich was able to live a happy life, free from the triumvirate. The shadows of his past soon dissipated, and he turned into a new man, truly loved by the people. Though his secrets never came to light, he had certainly done enough work to make up for them. After the battle for Alestia, Damek had a lot of work to do. Going from a member of the rebellion to a leader in the monarchy was a huge change. He was no longer part of a small army. His actions affected the entire world. Because of your sacrifice, the surviving forces were in a state of disarray. However, this was put to rest when Ulrich stood up and assumed the role of king. Damek immediately pledged loyalty to his childhood friend and served his new king. But he never forgot about you and what you did in order to secure victory. He used you as a guide on what to do and was known as kind and honorable. That was his way of honoring your friendship, using your ideals as inspiration. He remained in his role as advisor, just under Ulrich's leadership instead. Honoring your appointment, he served in this capacity until the end of his days. His bond with Ulrich stayed as strong as ever, and they always saw eye to eye. Damek eventually got over all of the fears that controlled him. He paid visits to the spot where he lost his mother, but it held no power over him. Speaking as if she were there with him, he told her stories of everything that happened. And he was able to leave without feeling sad. Instead, he was happy. He knew that if she were really there, she would be proud of him. That was enough to keep him going when times got tough. Thanks to your efforts, Damek was able to live a long, happy life. He served the throne for the rest of his life, remaining forever loyal. The tale of how far he'd come would go down in history and become legend. Sophie's past crimes were pardoned after his exceptional performance in Balteus. His defection from the Triumvirate and his advice regarding them were seen as invaluable. Were it not for his actions and his change of heart, the war would have been lost. True to his word, he used his eternal life to serve the monarchy. He was able to tell stories of your battles and keep your legacy alive. Every ruler in the future would know exactly who gave them their power. Howell survived the war, despite several grievous wounds. His body mended them with ease, and his life continued as normal. He dedicated his life to assisting the throne and recording history. But not current history. He wrote about the old monarchy and their ways. It was almost as if the spirits inside him felt regret at their actions. Nobody knew why Howell had this change of heart, but it was for the better. However, he chose to write about you and your sacrifice as well. In his eyes, you were an extension of his kind as well, and very important. He called you the bridge between worlds and attributed victory almost entirely to you. Thanks to your efforts, Howell was able to live a happy life. He was rarely seen outside of the castle and mostly stuck to writing. But to him, it was worth it in order to teach the world more about his kind. Aaron personally oversaw the transition of his home from a tavern to a barracks.
Sorry.
He wanted to ensure that during the switch, things still met his standards and regulations. Peregrino became a source of immeasurable military might, and Aaron oversaw all of it. Though conflict was rare, Peregrino remained as the first line of defense to protect Valenorth. Aaron realized that he hadn't lost his home at all, for home was where he and his friends resided. He lived the rest of his days in this new barracks, a proud servant of the new monarchy. This is where Milas settled down, unable to decide between Mazeo and Valenorth. He lived a happy and peaceful life, choosing how his remaining days played out. Being free to choose what happened to him, he was never bound by duty again. After the chaos dwindled, Alex returned to Mazeo and started a new life.
And he survived.
His treaty was honored, and pirates were forgiven for all they had done. All bans were lifted, and pirates were officially employed as traders. Neda was never seen again. It was assumed that she didn't agree with these changes, or perhaps she was spiteful that you didn't choose to align with her demands. Either way, Alestia would forever remember her as a ruthless pirate lord. After finding himself fully redeemed, Grizz returned to his office as mayor. Honoring the pirate treaty he had coordinated, he helped Mazeo adjust to every change. He had long since been forgiven by the people, but it was only now that he forgave himself. The created seers seemed to be affected by your attack on the Dark Idol. As if offering their strength when needed the most, the energy within them vanished. When the fog of war settled, they were no longer plagued with visions. They had healthy minds.
Oh, that's good.
Vivian returned to Alarinthia and led it into a new age. No longer was the fate of the nation in the hands of the strong. Alarinthia existed in unity with the new monarchy, and it flourished. Trade routes were introduced, and its ports were open to everybody. The strict security and immigration process had been abolished permanently. Holding a ball every year, Vivian kept up the tradition of giving to the people. One thing was for sure. Alarinthia would never be in the hands of the strong again. Vivian lived out a long and happy life in the nation he had always dreamed of creating. Shane was never seen again after that fateful encounter in Balteus. He is presumed dead, and many refuse to speak about his betrayal. If he survived, he went to great lengths to remain hidden from the world. When the chaos and confusion settled down, Halen seemed like a new man. He likened his existence to that of a spectator watching a performance. No matter what he wanted to do, his body could not defy his masters. He decided to atone for what he had done and joined the new monarchy. Of course, many people were apprehensive about accepting his aid. Over time, they learned to accept him and his desires as genuine. His job stayed largely the same, ensuring that Alestia's rulers remained in power. But with new masters and even new friends, he took pride in being on the right side. With the Dark Idol gone from Balteus, the corruption slowly waned. Over the next several decades, it made a complete transformation. Many would call it the most beautiful place in all of Alestian history. Its name was changed to New Balteus, and left behind its old roots. No longer would it be known as the seat of the tyrannical triumvirate. People would see it as the place where Alestia was changed forever. People would come from all over the world to see the home of the new monarchy. It became a symbol of new beginnings, teaching people that change is always possible. As the corruption slowly disappeared, people settled down and turned it into a prosperous nation. You were successful in your aspirations. You left behind an entirely changed world. The members of the rebellion that survived had a new, even bigger journey before them. It was time to lead the world into the bright future you secured. For them, work had only just begun. Thank you for your service, Monarch. For everything you've done, you will never be forgotten.
I would say I'm not crying, but that would be a lie. I mean, tears have stopped flowing, but you know. My vision fades in and I'm incredibly confused. With everything that just happened, I should definitely be dead. Actually, maybe I was. Far from it need to decide what death brought. I know that I'm in my house. That much is easy to describe. Something. After rising up from the sitting position, though, I know something shocking. The lower half of my arm is still missing. Could I have survived? No, that was impossible. So what's going on exactly? Mine starts to fill with possibilities. There's a knock at the door. I'm filled with fright, but then, a moment later, I hear a familiar voice.
Hey! Open up!
I rush to the door, and Fontaine steps inside of my house. My heart is beating so fast, then joy overtakes me. Wait, so what? Did I misread it that my arm wasn't there or was? Give Fontaine a big hug, and he seems surprised.
Did you just wake up? Oh, jeez. Hope we won't be late. Don't tell me you forgot what day it is.
Huh?
It's the anniversary of your induction. If we don't hurry to the town square, we'll be late. Salus is already under enough stress having to train Milas.
Salus is alive?
So come on, we need to get going. Your parents are counting on me, Cirrus. I told them to give me 10 minutes, tops.
My parents? I'm in complete shock and stand there dumbfounded. A small attorney passes before Fontaine breaks the silence.
Well, don't just stand there. You need to get ready. At this rate, you'll be greeting the townspeople in your underwear. I mean, you can if you want to, but I really don't recommend that.
I don't know what's going on. Am I in a new reality? The Elder's alive, as well as my parents, and I've been inducted? This means the rebellion never formed? There was no occupation? Tears started streaming from my eyes, and I gave Fontaine a bigger hug. I don't know what just happened exactly. I'm not about to question it. If this was the reward for my journey and sacrifice, then it was worth it.
Whoa, hey! Calm down.
I cry even harder, and Fontaine but can't help but show worry.
Hey, wait. Are you okay?
I nod and tell him everything's fine. And this time, something tells me it would stay that way. Boy.
I'll hang your picture on my wall. 4 days gone by.
Would that go to another part of the thing, or just end it? Okay.
When our lives intertwined, a moment frozen in time for me and you. And just like the waves across the sea, we were strong.
Should probably follow these people on for affinity or something.
Oh, how we laughed, how we cried, our voices echoed through the night. Nothing mattered in this world except you and me.
I don't know what Major and Minor is going to be like.
Pass me by, I'll not forget. 'Cause when we meet again, it's like you never left. 'Cause that's when
Huh.
home comes to you. It doesn't matter where you are, some things are always true. There are those that leave a mark upon your heart you'll never lose. 'Cause that's when home comes to you. And as the years go marching on,
Definitely seems like, I don't know, the end of some kind of movie thing.
just as strong. And as our futures unfurl, it was us against the world, and there was nothing that we felt we couldn't do. The way you
Who is that guy again?
is hard to comprehend. One look at you feels like I've come home again. 'Cause that's when home comes to you. It doesn't matter where you are, some things are always true. There are those that leave a mark upon your heart you'll never lose.
Just boop it.
'Cause that's when home comes to you.
It's really interesting, like, I did look up if there was any art, let's just say, of this game. I only saw one picture. It's weird. Ugh. That's gonna be the end of this Let's Play. So anyways, please comment, cause I like comments, say what you like, dislike, tips, tricks. Otherwise, if you like my YouTube and would like to see it grow, then please like, subscribe, and check out others help it grow. Please remember to spay and neuter your animals to help control the pet population. And until next time, let's play me, GamerWolfSix, of Winds of Change. Have a good day, sad. See ya.